From the 1930s to 1986, the USA had a government agency known as the Civil Aeronautics Board. It served as a cartelizing device, in other words, a monopolizing device. The CAB was lobbied for by the big airlines. It was essentially staffed by people from the big airlines. The idea was to exclude competing airlines and to assign monopoly routes and also to regulate the rates so the rate would keep on going up and up. For example, only Eastern Airlines could do the New York to Boston route in those days. If anybody else tried to fly from New York to Boston, they would be severely prosecuted. In any case, they would not even be allowed to take off from the airport in the first place. In other words, they were considered illegal. They were excluded by the CAB. The CAB gave certificates of convenience and necessity to any airline on the route. If the CAB said you could not fly on the route, then you could not fly on it. There was no free market, no free enterprise in the airline industry. At one point, Pan Am had the entire Pacific locked up. All routes to the Pacific had to be flown by Pan Am. A similar cartel operated internationally and involved such national airlines as British Airways, Air France, and Russian Aeroflot. It was called the International Airline Transport Association, a body that still exists today, although it has been greatly weakened. At one time, it had a lockup on all European flights through an explicit price-fixing cartel, which was backed by law in every country. Such was the grip of the IATA's cartel that at one time it was more expensive to fly from London to Frankfurt than from New York to London. During this period of intense cartelization, the airline industry had a rationing situation. The CAB or the IATA assigned routes and excluded everyone except one or two airlines on each route. Those airlines locked up the most profitable routes and inflated the price of tickets. The airline industry in America was deregulated by Jimmy Carter in 1978, and finally the CAB was disbanded under Ronald Reagan in 1986. The price of tickets for domestic flights in America fell by over 50% from 1978 to 2013. The situation in Europe took longer, but the European Union finally put an end to the IATA's cartel through deregulation in 1992. Anyone who was around in the 1990s saw the benefits immediately, as new airlines such as Ryanair and EasyJet almost immediately capitalized to offer cheap and no-frills flights for a fraction of the price that any of the old corrupt companies were offering. From 1992 to 2017, European flights tripled. A family trip from Paris to Milan would have cost €1,600 in 1992, cost only €100 in 2017. When people use the word deregulation as a scare word, just remind them of all the flights they've enjoyed in the past 20 years. Now get out.